Sanaseo. Good morning, everyone. So in the next 20-30 minutes, we are going to share with you a perspective on what we think new connected experience are going to enable in the context of this fourth industrial revolution. The first thing that I would like to talk about is the context in which all of that is happening. Many of you are very familiar with what you see on the screen. Those are some of the profound societal changes and challenges that are ahead of us. Cities, resource and energy management, global personalized health, supply locally and produce globally or the other way around, and education and research. So those are some of the most important drivers of transformations in many, many countries these days. But at the end of the day, as Sylvain said in his introduction, and Shang-Yu, it's about making sure that there is a full continuity across the process of imagination, creation, and making, and that there is no interruption along the way, because if there is an interruption, if there is a break in this flow, then it becomes more and more difficult to imagine, to create and make breakthrough innovation and breakthrough experiences. So, what does it mean precisely? It means that we are living in a world, as it was mentioned before, where we see a lot of technologies that were separate for many, many years, converging, fusioning, connecting more and more. These topics that you see on the screen have been around for 10, 15, 20 years for some of them. But in the last 2 to 3 years, we have seen an acceleration of innovation due to the availability of new computing powers, new very powerful systems on chip, memories, capabilities, networks, and also an incredible growth of knowledge in the domain of intelligence, artificial intelligence, and neural networks. And suddenly, all of these domains became not only science, fiction, or fundamental research, but became true products, true businesses, and what you see on the screen are some of the fastest growing cross-technological intersection industries activities going on these days. What's interesting is that not only technologies are intersecting, but industry are also intersecting. And I think that later on today, this morning, we will have a presentation of an example of a very innovative company delivering electric vehicles where the need for simulation, advanced engineering, material science, mastering the complexity of batteries is really at the crux, at the middle of very advanced experiences. What you see on the screen is Waymo, which is a big customer of Da쏘si스템, Google X, was spun off a bunch of business, including what was called the Google car. But this one is just an example of all the intersections happening across industries these days. Smart cities, industrial IoT, driverless vehicle, connected health, smart building, smart retail, and it goes on and on and on. So, when you look at that, it's primarily made possible by the fact that with industrial IoT, Internet of Things, big data, mobility, cloud, suddenly domains that were kept separate start to merge and become more accessible for a lot of big companies, but also a lot of new startups. And this is where you see at the bottom of this chart the profusion of innovation on smart healthcare, smart factory, and we will talk about that today a little bit, smart home, smart transportation, smart cities, are really all of them accelerating and becoming multi-billion-dollar businesses. What is the impact on this transformation happening all across the world on the world of manufacturing? What you see here are actually vision videos that PSA on the left side and Airbus on the right side produced to imagine and show how the future of their digital continuity will be handled from a manufacturing standpoint. From highly customized product that have to be developed and built pretty much on demand, to very sophisticated experiences where more and more the factory shop floor is going to be revamped dramatically with new robots and cobots, with new technologies that will help reconfigure dynamically the manufacturing and the supply chain, where methods and processes for manufacturing are going to be transformed, because all the objects, all the assets are now capable of being connected with each other. And this is where we are moving from a world of traditional machine-to-machine that have been around for more than 30 years in the industry, to a world of very advanced, cognitive, self-aware systems who are connected with each other to enable new manufacturing scenarios. So this is why a lot of governments all across the world have decided to invest and support this fourth revolution of industry. You see here an example across the world, and Korea has been one of the most advanced countries in this space, but you see that all across the world, government and central administrations are actually creating initiatives to foster the development of a new production mechanism, for a new way of thinking about manufacturing, for reinventing supply chain, because they are really at the core of new advanced innovations. All of these initiatives, when we look at them in detail, and Da쏘시스템 is well engaged with many of these initiatives across the world, if we have to summarize in 4 key points what all these initiatives are, it's about digital transformation of the manufacturing and supply chain, smart and connected manufacturing, continuity across all the disciplines and functions, from design to engineering to manufacturing and supply chain, and last but not least, how to ensure that these production chains are globally interconnected. Many of you in this room are working for companies who are very advanced in many of these domains, but you will be surprised to see that sometimes even the largest companies are not that well connected to their supply chain, and smaller companies have a hard time to play in this game. So this is why all of these government initiatives are becoming really important for the competitiveness of the economies. So, what do we do at Da쏘시스템 in this context? So you know that we have this platform that we announced 5 years ago called the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. And I'm not going to go through every single bullet point here, but if you go from the left side of this compass, which is representing our platform, you start from the world of 3D modeling. At the south of the compass, this is where you have all the simulation. At the north, this is where you have everything related to social and collaboration applications. And on the right side, this is a world of big data, analytics, and intelligence based on product information. Today, we're not going to go through all of this in detail, but I would like to highlight the 3 bullet points that you see in orange, which is the multi-scale modeling from material to product to asset, the hyper-realistic multiphysics simulation and optimization, and the process multidimensional simulation and optimization. These 3 things, and there are many others, are really transforming massively the way manufacturing and supply chain are currently handled. It means that you are now in a position with a unique platform to engineer your manufacturing and supply chain processes and organization, to operate the physical industrial operations and synchronize all the disciplines from design to engineering to manufacturing with full continuity, and to optimize continuously the supply chain and operations with dynamic scheduling and predictive analytics. So, to summarize, what the platform from Da쏘시스템 offers in this context of manufacturing and supply chain transformation for the 4th industrial revolution is this possibility to model and simulate very advanced models for engineering, to synchronize and execute all the disciplines with an operation platform, and to schedule and predict through optimization mechanisms. To enter a little bit more in the detail, if I start at the bottom left corner, this is where you are engineering entirely your manufacturing process. You define your product engineering and digital manufacturing and there is a governance in place baked out of the box in the software from Da쏘si스템. Then you go at the bottom right corner on manufacturing and optimization management. So this is a world of production handling, quality, warehouse management, plant maintenance, field operations, with a deep connection at the integration layer with the edge infrastructure of all the products and devices and physical assets that are in your manufacturing. And to make sure that all of that is handled properly and real time, you have a layer of intelligence and traceability that ensures that all these assets, all of these processes, all of these resources are properly managed. But the lifeblood of a manufacturing process is really the supply chain planning and operations. So this is why, again, in the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, we have sales and operation planning software, master planning with MPS and MRP, and detailed scheduling and rescheduling. So if there is one message I want you to take away from this presentation is that, sure, Da쏘si스템 continues to be the leader in the world of CAD and PLM, but Da쏘si스템 is now, for several years now, a very important player in the domain of manufacturing and supply chain, and we are investing massively in this space with R&D and acquisitions. Last but not least, all of that is governed, is coordinated with global industrial operations cockpit, from planning to execution on the shop floor, as well as industrial analytics and predictive intelligence. Once again, we have in our portfolio of the 3DEXPERIENCE platform a product called Exalead, which is an extremely powerful way of getting a 360-degree view of program project management, but also assets, resource, parts, components, and obviously monitoring of all the processes associated to manufacturing, supply chain, and maintenance and operations. So now we are going to go very quickly in the next 3 sections of what we do in this domain. So the first one is really about the engineering of manufacturing and supply chain. So you see here a very short example, an illustration in the automotive space, but we do that in many, many other industries. So this is where we do the product and production validation. This is where you define that what you are about to manufacture is exactly what you want. This is why we have this virtual twin of our product and production systems. So not only we have the CAD, PLM, bill of material information in the system, but we have also all the assets and manufacturing management capabilities who are tightly integrated in the same environment, thus allowing you to know if you can effectively manufacture and produce what you design and engineered virtually. Third, it's about making sure that the human task simulation can be tested and validated. So in the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, we have not only the physical product, the physical assets, but we have also a digital model of human beings where we can simulate everything related to human being interactions with physical products. So we can check that from a safety standpoint, from a regulatory standpoint, from a joint, muscles, back edge, everything, all of that can be simulated and tested, not only the physical product, but also the human beings. We also invested massively in the domain of augmented reality and virtual reality, 3D printing with additive manufacturing, because they are becoming absolutely central to everything related to the reinvention of manufacturing and supply chain. It's also about making sure that the coexistence between robots and human beings is well prepared, well handled, and well simulated. So once again, everything that you see here are not high-level words, they are real products and technologies that we invite you to discover later on today on the playground and to discuss with our teams. So that was engineering. The second one is operations. Here, we are in the world of monitoring and checking that everything works as planned. So we have a global manufacturing suite that is going to do the link between the virtual model that we created and the real world of the shop floor. And the continuity between, the two The intent here is to make sure that at any time you have manufacturing optimization management, MES, rescheduling capability that will ensure that there is no disconnect between the virtual twin and the real world. So this is really about ensuring that everything is absolutely synchronized from a supply chain and logistics standpoint, from a production standpoint, and that everything is constantly and continuously monitored precisely, that the work instructions are updated, that the capability that you have on your hardware, software, and human resources is absolutely optimized. So we are constantly connecting the world of the simulation and the world of the real to make sure that there is no disconnect. And that capability is being adopted and deployed with a lot of customers these days. They see the value of having a digital twin and the real-world data integration perfectly coupled. So we do that for a lot of companies in the 12 industries that we are serving. Last but not least, you have engineered, you have operated, so you need to optimize and reprogram and recalculate constantly to make sure that all the resources that you have available are perfectly optimized, that there is no problem of disconnect between the planning that you did initially and the real world in which you are operating. So here, this is an illustration of what we do with software on operational research as part of the Delmia product family, where we do manufacturing process intelligence, search-based applications with Exalead, and the intent here is to reduce to the strict minimum the level of unknown and learn continuously with the data that you get from the system and compare it to the initial model that you define to optimize resource allocation. So to summarize, we have, once again, in the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, the software capability, the application, the content, the service, the solutions to help you engineer, operate, and optimize your manufacturing. And you see here on the screen three very, very different examples from three different industries, McLaren, Hitachi, and Nexans, who have already put in production the systems that we just talked about for most of them. And you see that the impact is quite substantial in terms of business return, because people understand that software, when you connect really the world of design, engineering, supply chain, manufacturing, and operations in very, very tightly manner, you can gain a lot of effectiveness and cost reduction. So that was a very short overview of what we do in the context of manufacturing and how we think Dasosystems can help you to reinvent and transform your manufacturing supply chain optimization operations in the context of this fourth industrial revolution. But I would like to share with you what many of our customers that we have worked with in the last 4 to 5 years have shared with us on the key success factor of their digital transformation when it comes to manufacturing and industrial revolution. The first one is people. They tell us if you have really a strong buy-in at all the level of the company, then you can really embark in this kind of transformation. Because software is going to help you, process methods and tools are going to help you, but spending enough time on people and change management is really the crux of the success. It's also about being quite passionate. So I'm on the left side now, passion. Many companies always hesitate to move from the as-is, which most of the time works quite well, to the to-be, that looks always a little bit scary and difficult to implement. And this is where having a bold, passionate vision of what you want to achieve and be very clear on how you want to drive this transformation is absolutely critical for success. It's also about, and many companies in Asia have understood that and do it well, on the right side, this is a world of fostering the development of ideas. A lot of people across very innovative companies in the domain of high-tech that I'm in charge of, but also in many other industries, have created a mechanism where the transformation is not just a blueprint, is not just a big roadmap, but is a result of a continuous mechanism of collecting ideas, suggestions, new concepts that are re-injected in the definition of the success. Expertise, at the bottom right corner, is really, it's obvious to say it, but a question of allocating the best talents and the best experts to the process that you are trying to transform. And here again, in Korea, yesterday again, I was with one of a very successful company in Korea, and I can tell you that the people that we are working with are very talented, extremely experts in what they do, and this is clearly a success factor for the project. Last but not least, and this is probably where we can help, Dasosystems is convinced that all of that is good, but at the end of the day, you need great software, tools, platforms that are going to make all of this intent of transforming a reality in your daily operations. So this is where the technology becomes absolutely critical. This is why we have invested so much in R&D, and we continue to buy a lot of companies. We actually invested a little bit more than $1.2 billion of acquisitions in the last 2 to 3 years, and we will continue to invest a lot because we are convinced that only by using very advanced software, technologically advanced software, we can help you solve some of the most complex and difficult problems that exist today to embrace this fourth industrial revolution. So once again, we believe that this is a world of engineering, optimization, and continuous improvement. We also believe that software can absolutely be a fundamental factor of transformation. But we also believe that at the end of the day, it's about people getting with each other, learning from each other, and we hope that this day with you today will be an opportunity to exchange. So thanks again, and have a fantastic day.